Good morning and welcome to Press Pass Live. I probably shouldn't open the show with good morning, seeing as you guys will be watching this at all kinds of the times of the day. But thank you for tuning in today. This is your weekly podcast show for the OMFL, the world's longest CFM in existence. We've been going since 2001, and I'm excited about being with you this morning because the whole gang is back. That's right. I got some of my old friends back from the last show, and the triplicates are all here. So good morning to Mr. Maniac, Mr. Dwayne, and Mr. Dawson. How you guys doing this morning?
Pretty good, pretty good. How are y'all?
They're good.
All right, we got a great show in store for you, and I want to hop right into it. We're trying to mix some things up a little bit and give you guys a little bit of a variety. We're going to be trying some new things over the last few weeks, and the new thing that we're trying today is technical difficulties. We have been going at it for the past hour trying to get this thing to work, but you know what? We're going old school today. We're firing up the Uber conference, and we'll do a little video editing to get this thing to all match up, but it's going to be good, and you should see over the next few weeks as we just try some new things. So let's hop into the very first thing. There has been a player. So let's give a little context and background. So last Madden, we tried to figure out a way, how can we kind of make things a little bit unique here? And one of my biggest complaints is that you play 5, 6, 7 seasons in a Madden, and you see these rookies that get introduced into your league and actually become like this really big part of your league, but then they all have to go away because you got to start over for the next Madden. And we were trying to think of a way, how can we add some flavor into allowing some players that really become big parts in your league to stay there. And so 2 Maddens ago, I think Madden 16, we started this new thing where you get a player import. You get to pick one player from your team that is a Madden generated player or from a team that you drafted with. You get to bring him over. We'll recreate everything, his stats, his age, his contract, everything. You get to bring him over, and that player gets to stay. Well, this past year we had a whole crop of really great players come over. Some of them kind of disappeared, and one of those players was Mr. Traynor for the Houston Texans. Traynor was this quarterback that came out in a couple of draft classes ago. I think the second to last draft class of Madden 17. And he was just real dynamic player, could run, he could pass, he had the big arm, he was super dynamic. I think at that point he was 99 overall. We had to do some norming of the imports that came over. And then he just kind of disappeared. So my question to you guys is, it seems that this season he has come back. And so, Dwayne, my question to you is Traynor back? Is this the guy that we remember from Madden 17 that was running and throwing and passing the ball all over? The Houston Texans seem to be getting their act together at 5-4. Is Houston's quarterback Traynor back?
Well, I right now it just depends, what week you're looking at him at, because he's been, I guess in a nice way to say it, inconsistent so far this season, as in his wins so far. So he's got 9 touchdowns and 6 interceptions, 112 QBR. In his 4 losses he has 3 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and a 68 QBR rating. So we're seeing a Jekyll and Hyde effect here. When he plays good, the Texans win, which I know that sounds simple to most people, but with somebody who throws the ball and relies on the passing game the way Massimo does, you need especially this guy. This guy put us in a place where we had to do a lot of adjustments to the league just because of him. If y'all don't, I think you said it yourself, we had to nerf a lot because he built this guy up to be a Superman last Madden. And we had to do a lot of nerfing just to allow, him to come here. He hasn't did as good as as we all thought he would these 3 seasons so far. The first year he had 27 touchdowns, 29 picks. Last year was 19 touchdowns, 18 picks. And this year is 12 and 17 through 9 games. Like I said, I just think Massimo gets into those spots where he forces passes. And I think if he'll just let Traynor do his thing, I think he'll win more games. And the stats tell that. In the wins, when Traynor plays good, he wins. And when Traynor doesn't play well, he loses.
Dawson, what do you think about Traynor? Do you think he's back?
Yeah, it's tough to tell because ever since he's been here, I feel he's been a top 5 quarterback. Mostly because the overall performance of the Texans the last few seasons, he's just been on the outside looking in. No, not really been mentioning on anything. He's actually the first season we started back. He has he has the most passing yards in the season with slightly over 4,000. He fell off a bit last season, 3,400 passing yards, 19 touchdowns, and 18 picks. So he still has some room to improve. A few negatives though. You just have to watch out. You know, he's played 41 games so far. He's already thrown for 64 interceptions, been sacked 161 times. So, Traynor is the guy, for the Texans if they want to get that, South Division. Just have to, limit those turnovers and just have to stay healthy, if they do want to, grab that division.
I'm glad you brought up the sack numbers. What was the number again? 100 and what?
161.
That is just an amazing number.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's given up, 12, 14, 16 sacks in the last 2 games. That's just way too many sacks. I don't know if he's holding on to the ball too long or or if that offensive line is just putrid, but that is just way too many sacks. Maniac, let's go over to you. What do you think about Traynor? Is he back? Is he up and down? What's the deal with this guy?
Well, with Massimo, from the games I've played him and watched him and stuff, he likes to get the ball deep, and with Darren right now, he's currently 8th in the league with 1,834 yards passing. But like the stat that Dwayne threw out, he's 12 touchdowns, 17 interceptions, and at the halfway point, already been sacked 35 times. I mean, that's crazy.
It's amazing.
But I think a lot of it has to do with because Massimo is looking for that cutthroat, get the ball deep, looking for the big home run play, and I say that it's just the biggest factor though. He's number 27 in the league in ball security, so he's turning the ball over. You got a quarterback that's in that position in the league, turn your ball over. He's getting sacked. I say the question that you gave us and stuff was Darren Traynor finally back from the dead. No. He ain't no Jesus. He's not resurrected. He's flatlining. So.
Yep, I'm with you guys. I think that you look at his stats: 87 deep accuracy, 94 medium, 96 short, 97 thrown power. If he's not exactly where he was last Madden, he's pretty darn close, and yet something has dramatically changed with this kid. I mean, 29 interceptions year one, 18 last year. He really cut that down, but with the 18, he only had 19 touchdowns. And again, he's already up to 17 this year, and we're just past the halfway mark. 62 sacks, 64 sacks, 35 already. It's just way too many. He's turning the ball over too much, and he's giving up way too many sacks. You want to see this guy. We are a better league whenever these kinds of kids are out there playing at the top level. When you had Traynor and then that kid Arnaud with Cincinnati, I mean, those 2 kids were just, it made us completely rethink our sliders for XP, the way we were going to import these. We had to rethink everything because of those 2 kids. And yet he seems to have struggled ever since coming over. He's still 90 overall, 6'6", big kid. You want to see him get it together, but Massimo just has to play better. So looking at that stats and staying on kind of that line of thought, I want to look at the running back situation that we have here. So we have been really playing with a lot of different things, and we have pretty high running sliders here. If you look at the averages, these averages are pretty outrageous for some of these top guys. Your top 5 guys are averaging Hall of Fame numbers: 4.8, 5.7, 6.5, 5.8, 7.2. But you also have to look at just the overall, like, what are they getting per season? So my question to you guys is will we have a 1,500-yard rusher this year? I don't think that we'll get that 2,000 number. So, you do see that in the NFL before, and we're not going to get there. And so I think that our numbers are fairly realistic. But Maniac, let's start with you. You're the slider guy. You've been working your tail off on these things. Do you think one of these top five guys, Ajayi, Hunt, Elliott, Trulock, or Bell, do you think one of these guys is going to break 1,500 yards this season?
Going with the numbers that are right now and stuff, and yeah, those sliders have been worked on a lot, and they're probably still going to have to be adjusted because Tavon and the Steelers, man, with Bell, is just running the ball down everybody's throat. I think he's got already almost at 1,000 yards with Bell. I think after this week, it was like 972 yards, I believe. It's just absolutely crazy what he's doing, and I think he may push the 2,000 yard mark. I don't think he'll get there, but Bell is going to be the bell cow of the league. That is if Bell can avoid injury. I know last season Bell got injured for Tavon, which kind of hurt him going into the playoffs. Same thing with Elliott for me and stuff. He got hurt late in the season, and it makes a difference. Those backs do. But yeah, I think we may see possibly even two running backs make the 1,500 yard mark. But I think Bell with Tavon is going to be pushing for 1,800 possible yards for the league.
So you say two. Who do you think the second is?
I'm going with Elliott, but it's going to be a uphill battle for me and stuff. But I think I can push that 1,500 yard mark for the end of the season.
Dwayne, what do you think? Do you think a running back will break 1,500 yards? You're one of the better runners in this league.
I actually think you got all three of them guys right there that can do it, and a lot of it just depends on the usage of them. You got Bell. He's got his whole game is based, and we all know that with Tavon, is just speed. Get him on the outside or even the inside. He's got 11 rushes this year of 20-plus yards or more. Then you go to Trulock, it's 7, and Zeke with 5. And what that tells me is Seattle and Dallas are just pound it and grind it out. I've played both of them. There's nothing fancy with it. Even with Zeke, Zeke can be whatever kind of running back you want him to be. And I know that's some of my cowboy love coming out. But he can do anything you want to do, but he just pounds the ball. And Bale, like I said, you can look from the last couple of weeks that he's ran when guys have held him without those long runs. I mean, you take away his 20-plus yard run, 27-yard run last week. He has 55 yards on 11 carries, which is not a bad game, but it's not 1,500-yard rusher game. The week before that, he had 22 carries and 71 yards. So it just shows me if these guys take away his outside running lanes or contain him, that he can be stopped. I don't think you can say the same for Trulock or Elliott. I think them guys can run any way you want them to run. I will say this: the Steelers, the Seahawks have probably the easiest route left when it comes to Russian defense on the way out. I think the teams that Seahawks remaining schedule average 88 yards a game given up. Well, reverse that. I mean, they have the hardest schedule, 88 yards. The Cowboys at 90 and the Steelers 91. I know that all sounds close. Hold on, my cat's acting crazy. But like I said, I think all three of these guys could do it. I honestly see if somebody catches on to Bell, which looks like last 2 or 3 weeks, that I think he can be stopped a lot easier than Trulock and Zeke can. And I do think that Trulock and Zeke are on teams that, and not knocking the Steelers, I just think they're on teams that put themselves in a position early in the game to run the ball. I think Trulock and Zeke both will push 1,500. And I think Bale, like he said, if he gets on a streak like he has where he's getting these super long runs, 11 carries through 9 games of 20-plus yards, that's pretty crazy. But if he can keep that up, he could really do it. But I really would put my money on Trulock and Zeke just because I know what them teams can do, and I know that those teams are going to be ahead majority of their games, and they're going to run the ball and run the ball and run the ball. And I think that Tavon, if he does fall behind early, he will neglect Bale and not give him the ball.
Dawson, 1,500 yards. Do you think it's possible?
Yeah, I think it's possible. The 2,000-yard mark, no, I don't think that would be possible. I think in the first season, we haven't had one 2,000-yard rusher, so this cycle. But I do think Le'Veon Bell is leading like 7.2 yards per carry, and right at almost 1,000 yards already. I think he still has 7 more games, so he still has a chance to get that in. Like Dakota said, he can be stopped. If you look at my game, I held him to 16 yards in week 4, but he also got hurt, I think in the first half. So that's also another, issue, on that. So I do believe Le'Veon will get the 1,500 yards, and there's also a few other ones that has a legitimate chance of making it. You got Barry Trueluck with 786 yards. Then you got Dallas Ezekiel Elliott with 729 yards. So they both have a chance, and you might can even add Kareem Hunt in there. But he hasn't had 50 yards rushing in the game in the last 3 games. So he's kind of going falling down a bit. So it's going to be tough for him to reach that 1,500 mark.
Yep, there's a lot of really good running backs. I think these sliders, this is not the sliders we started the season with, and so I'll be interested not only to see where we finish this season and as we continue to adjust as we go, but then I think going into next season, we'll have a much better foundation. I mean, I've put in a lot of test time, but man, Maniac has tripled what I've put in, and I think we really are working so hard on trying to get these sliders right. I will say though that the newest set has made me want to go to all Madden less. I do like them more. Now it's just seeing where our numbers fall and where we're going to fall as a league at the end of the day. So let's kind of change the subject a little bit and do something that is a little out of the norm. Now, as we move into the second half of the season, it's a lot of us are going to start changing our minds over to the off season, over to the draft, right? A lot of us are out of that playoff run, and we want to talk about the draft. And so my question to you guys is, looking at your draft boards, looking at what you have in front of you, how's the draft looking? Where are the hot spots? Where are the low spots? What do you think that this draft will have to offer us? And also, we're going to start with you. What do you think that this draft is going to bring to us this year?
Yeah, I was, I have drafted, we started scouting a few, of the positions. I started with the tight ends, just because, I thought I was going to lose Hunter Henry in the free agency, but I was able to re-sign him. There's a few good tight ends, starting out. There's only one projected in the first round, Gordon Bradley. He looks pretty solid, 6'4", 251. His catching is up there as well. And then I looked at I really don't need a receiver right now, but it's kind of intriguing to see, there's 6 receivers projected in the first round. So it would be interesting to see exactly, if that, their, talent level is first round. There's 3 speed guys already up there. Eric Stevenson, DeAndre Willie, and then Gary Savage. All 3 of them were speed guys. I did see in the chat that Colin was talking about the cornerbacks. That's pretty fell off quite a bit. So I haven't really scouted any of those, but there's no cornerbacks projected in the first round. So it'll be interesting, going forward especially in the off season, especially when we get through the free agency and we start picking up the guys that we want, and then trying to fill in the needs that everyone has to go to.
Maniac, what do you think about this draft? Do you think this has some high and some low spots? What's it going to bring to us?
I really like right now the Hogs, man. It seems like left tackle, left guard. There seems to be a lot of talent right there. I think that going into we're kind of getting up on the heel, the downward slide on this Madden cycle and stuff, and I think this may be the year to shore up your line to finish out this Madden cycle with the left tackle, left guard. I want to give you a name, a couple of names here and stuff, but left tackle Proctor, I think he's going to be probably the top tackle coming out, possibly in that first round. I've also got a left guard, Myers. Pitts. I'm sorry, Pitts. In the draft, I think he's going to be a steal there for someone. I think he's projected 5th round, but I like what I've seen from scouting him and stuff. So again, like I said, I think this is the season to shore up your line if you got any holes going into the final end of this Madden.
Yeah, I'm always a big fan of drafting the hogs and drafting those guys early and just really building them up. And it's just, honestly, it's to me, it has the biggest payoff. You can get them the cheapest and you can get some really, really good players that are easy to develop. Um, Dwayne, what do you think about this draft? What do you think is going to bring to us when we get to the off season?
Well, I'm kind of like Maniac. I think your left tackle, left guard, and O line in general, but especially those two are going to be solid. And I think that just to touch on what y'all just said, you're not going to win without offensive line. And the best way to me is to build offensive line, and I say the cheap way, because you get some of them high end, and Maniac of all people knows high end offensive linemen, and they get expensive. The best way to build your O line is through the draft. And I think some guys this time can get a guy or two that can jump in day one and make an impact. I do think there's some very good top end quarterbacks. I'm not saying the whole draft. I think maybe top 3, maybe 4 quarterbacks could be game changers to maybe sit a year, or if guys really want to look toward the import, I know we got at least 2 seasons left after this season. If they want to look forward and start building him up, I mean, I know he'd be 24, 25 starting the next Madden, but it's a big step starting a new Madden off with a legit, ready to go quarterback. And somebody like the Jets or Bills or somebody like that will go into next Madden not knowing what the quarterback situation looks like. This might be your chance to grab it before everybody gets that 5th or 6th season where everybody's trying to get picks because they're all trying to get an import. This might be a time you can jump in and get a quarterback when everybody's not looking for one. You might be able to get a steal and start building for next Madden. I do think a defensive tackle is one. I think if I'm not mistaken, it was this last draft that wasn't very defensive tackle friendly. I think if you want some people to plug up some holes down there in the, I guess I'm looking for a word for it, down there in the nit and gritty down there, that this is your draft. You can find a few defensive tackles just to plug those lines. And with we were just talking about star running backs. You're not going to stop these running backs unless you got a legit defensive line. You can have the best linebacker, secondary, anywhere, but if you can't stop them up front and stop them from getting 4 or 5 yards a carry, you're not going to win. So I think those 3 positions you'll be able to find. I think offensive line. I think a bunch of people are going to get some offensive line in this draft. But if you want a top end quarterback to build with, or even to use this Madden, or if you're wanting a Sue or I'm trying to think. I was trying to think of Big Boy's name who used to stomp on people's faces before he Albert Hainsworth.
Oh,
If you look for Hainsworth
there's
before
a
he went off
name.
if you're looking for somebody like him before he went off the deep end, I think you guys can get him right now.
Yeah, I think that the defensive line is going to be deep this draft. I think they're going to have some playmakers that can rush after the quarterback. And I love the idea that you brought up, Dwayne, of drafting a guy that you can kind of like hide away and sneak off on the bench, but that will be your project that you bring with you as an import over. I think you'll see that happen more and more over the next couple of drafts, especially that last one right before we swap over. That's going to be a great draft to just swoop up a player that you maybe don't even need, but that's going to come in handy whenever you do that import. So now we're going to stay in the same vein and keep talking about the off season, but we're going to trade over to some teams that have caught our eye throughout the season. Now we're a little past the halfway mark and really starting to get on that home stretch of where games over the next 3 or 4 weeks are really going to matter heavily. So I'm going to give you a little buy or sell, excuse me, on a couple of these teams. And I just want you to tell me, buy or sell them as a playoff team. And why are you buying them or why are you selling them really briefly? You know what? Just because we'll run through a couple of these teams, we'll have a little order here. We'll go Maniac, Dawson, and then Dwayne will bring up the rear. And I'll just call out the name of the team and we'll just hit them left and right just like that. Let's go ahead and start off with one of my favorite teams, but yet I don't know if I'm buying them just yet. Let's talk about the Miami Dolphins. They're sitting at 7-1 through, I think we're in week 10 right now. One of the hotter teams leading their division. We'll start off with Maniac. Buy or sell the Dolphins?
I'm buying the Dolphins, but with caution. I think he can make a run. The only thing that bothers me here is his third down conversions, 42%, 25th in the league. If you're not, again, like we said in the other segment, you're not getting first downs, sooner or later it's going to catch up with you. You're going to face that top-end defense, and you're going to find yourself in trouble. So I'm buying, but with caution.
Yeah, I'm going to buy also Dolphins. Sitting at 7-1, first in the AFC East. They took a big loss against the Bengals a couple weeks ago, but they do also have some quality wins over the Eagles, Patriots, and the Texans. It is kind of worrisome because their defense is ranked 30th in total yards allowed, 350 yards a game. But his quarterback, Bruce Dow, he is still in the running for the Offensive Player of the Year, so that he got that going.
Well, I'm going to break the cycle. I'm all in on Kevin and the Dolphins. All in. I just threw all my chips in on him. He's going to win that division easy. I think this is his year to make a move in the playoffs. He's got a good running back in Foreman, a couple running backs in Williams and Drake. I think his quarterback has only 7 interceptions so far this year. That's always been a knock on him as he turns the ball over in the passing game. He's really cut that down. I know his defense isn't where I want it to be at, but I do think he has a defense that causes turnovers. He has 4 guys with multiple interceptions this year. He's got Harris. He's got Daniels getting some sacks. Man, I'm sold on him. I think this is his year to make it. I think that he could be the guy that could unseat Cincy in the playoffs. I think that he will probably get a first-round bye. And, man, I'm just all sold on him. I think this is his year. I think that since he's out of his way, he's got confidence in that division, and I think that confidence is going to carry over to the playoffs.
Maniac, I sell the Raiders. What do you think about the Oakland Raiders?
Oakland, I mean, there's no doubt he's playing pretty decent ball. I think he just got a big win here this last game that he played. But I'm selling the Oakland Raiders. Basically, he has struggled in the red zone, though. His red zone efficiency is in the bottom 5 in the league. So, I mean, if you're struggling in the red zone, you're not putting points up, especially in the crunch time when you need them. And he's also struggling on the defensive side of the ball as well in the red zone, giving up a lot of touchdowns, especially when everyone gets into that red zone and stuff. He's giving up those points. So I'm going to sell those Oakland Raiders, and they're moving to Las Vegas.
Yeah, I want to. 2 of his 6 wins were against me, 8 points both games. It was just tough losses there. His defense is top notch. The stats might not look like it, but he's only allowing 17 points a game, which is ranked 6th in the league. And right now, I think he's got his toughest games out of the way, and now he's got 7 more games left in the season. So I'm going to buy because I just look for them to win that division out going the rest of the season.
Yeah, like Dawson said, I hate that he had to throw out there that 2 of his wins were against him. I think he's got to adjust his quarterback situation. I'm kind of indifferent. I was really sold on the buy. I didn't do my homework because this guy, he's always been a great player here. He's got one of the best defensive ends who can change the outlook of a game, any game, in Khalil Mack. He's got a defense that makes you turn the ball over. But what gets me is, and Dawson might be able to answer this offhand. I don't know is he starting Carr or is he starting Gronkowski?
Gronkowski, because Carr, I think he's currently hurt. Okay. About weeks though, but he played Gronkowski against me last week.
Well, like I said, he's got 2 quarterbacks there. I don't know who he's going with, but I'm not knocking any knock on Gronkowski, but Gronkowski is not Carr. So if Carr comes back, it's a lot easier to buy him. He's got 3 running backs averaging over 5 yards a carry. And in that division, it's tough because you got Dawson's Chargers who are having a down year, but are still a game you don't want to play every week. You got the Broncos, Chiefs in that division. I think a lot. It's a hard buy, light sell. I'm gonna have to sell him just for the reason I don't know his quarterback situation. And this is a guy who really relies on Khalil Mack on defense and really relies on Carr picking apart offense. And if Carr's not 100%, I just can't buy him. Not with the Broncos and Chiefs breathing down his neck. Man, I'm sorry, guy, but I just can't buy the Raiders right now. Sell.
Pittsburgh Steelers are sitting at 6-3. Maniac, we're buying or selling the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I'm putting my chips in on the Steelers within his division and stuff. He's got 1,254 yards rushing right now on the season, and he's top 10 in third down efficiency. He's moving the chains and moving those chains and getting those wins and running the ball. I mean, running the ball with Bell, he's just been dominating that line. Now, he has had a couple of bad games, gotten shut down, but I do believe that with the way he's running the ball, controlling the clock, moving those chains, I'm buying in on the Steelers in the offseason for the playoffs.
Yeah, the Steelers, they took a tough loss versus the Bills back in Week 9, but I still like the Steelers. I'm going to buy them. They got two quality big wins over their rival, the Ravens, in Week 3 and 5. I think they lost to the Bengals back in Week 6 by 3 points. So I mean, they can compete. And the way the standings, the wild card situation is going in the AFC, I like to buy. I'm going to buy them.
You know, they're a team that I want to buy just outright. I did have a kind of a question. I was noticing, is Le'Veon hurt right now? Can anybody answer that right offhand? I see on Daddy Leagues has him hurt.
I don't think so.
Okay, I was going to say, you know, with somebody like him who is real reliant on Le'Veon, and I don't think he is hurt. That might be one of them Daddy Leagues things. But I'm not as sold on him as I am Kevin. Okay. I'm not as sold on him as I am Kevin, and just for a few reasons. I just don't think what he's been through this season. I don't think he's geared up for some of these top teams. When he's played, like early this season when he played Cincinnati, he was up, I want to say 13-0 or something like that, and just completely just fell apart. One thing went wrong, and to me it just kind of avalanched down. That's nothing against Tavon. I'm just looking at it from a straight Madden perspective. He just completely fell apart and just gave that game to Cincinnati. And those kind of games, man, they just kind of wear on you because that's in the back of your mind when you get in the playoffs and you play these teams. And I have a hard time buying him. I do think that he is overlooked as a defensive juggernaut. I think he plays really good on defense, and his stats really reflect that. But just so much rides on Bale, and I just don't know if the consistency is there with Bale to where if he's getting 3 or 4 yards a carry, will he keep running with Bale? Because you can't just abandon it when you don't get those long runs. I'm going to have to sail the Steelers right now because I think they're going as a wild card, and I think that's going to be stuck in their back of their mind is because, like I say, he's got Cincy in his division now. I'm going to have to sail him as a contender this year.
Now, we talked about this team just a few minutes ago, but the Houston Texans, they are sitting at, I just lost them, 5-4. Are we buying or selling the Houston Texans this season?
Is there a layaway option?
No layaway option. You got to make a decision.
I'm going to at this point in time, I'm going to sell, but with him being in the weaker division and stuff, he will probably get in, but he is struggling with the turnovers right now. Like I said, he's top of the league with the turnovers with his quarterback. So I'm selling, but and looking at it and stuff, I think with the weaker division, I think he gets in.
Yeah, I'm gonna sell the Texans right now. They're 5-4 going into the bye week, but they got some tough games going ahead. They got the Raiders, the Jaguars twice, and the Falcons in Week 17. I believe Jason said yesterday that the South Division is lukewarm. All of them are within a game or two of each other, and I mean you still got Titans and Jaguars, so I'm going to sell them.
Yeah, I'm kind of like both of them guys. Man, if you could have just a layaway option on seeing how this is going to turn out. But he is 3-0 in the division, and he's got a lot of division games coming up. I don't know who he plays in Week 17, but he's probably not going to win that game. But the rest of them should be it should be an interesting way to turn out. And I'm gonna, and as hard as it is for me to say it, I'm gonna buy him. And the reason why I say this, he's got a solid running back. Traynor, I don't think Traynor, I know we kind of knocked on him a little bit. I don't think he will play as bad the second half, in my opinion. I think he will turn it around. I think he'll use this podcast as a motivation. Um, he's got weapons on offense, and he's got a beast quarterback when he can use him. I'm going to have to buy him, especially in that division, because that division, and that's the craziest thing, because that division, ever since even last Madden, it was like nobody ever wants to win. It's a 1 or 2 game above 500. Everybody's 1 or 2 games below 500. I do think Big Hurt going in that division will change a lot, even though he hasn't shown it quite yet. We know what Big Hurt's capable of. I do think the Texans win this division, but I do think he's going to be overlooked going to the playoffs because everybody, even his own division mates, call it a lukewarm division. I think he'll be overlooked, and I don't have to buy him because I think he wins one playoff game at least. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but coming out of a division where everybody is 9-7 or 8-8, I think winning one playoff game, I mean, you have to honestly consider it as a success coming out of that division.
Washington Redskins are one of the more intriguing teams in the league, really have come out of nowhere. And it really goes to that quarterback and receiver duo that they have. So Washington Redskins at 6-2, are we buying or selling the Washington Redskins?
Well, based off of the game he played the Cowboys, I would sell. The quarterback threw a lot of picks, and but he did play better in the second half against the Cowboys and stuff. So I really do think he's going to get in the playoffs. So I'm buying. Again, I'm buying with caution. I'm not sure exactly where he's going to be. If it's division lead or if it's wild card. Right now, the NFC East is just at a deadlock. Everybody's like 6-2, 5-3. Everybody's right there within reach. It could go either way. I mean, the Madden's the same way with the NFL. It's a game of inches. Miss field goal here, a fumble there, and he's a champion, or he could be last. But I'm buying, and exactly where he's going to be, I don't know at this time.
Yeah, the Redskins, they're in one of the toughest divisions so far. They took a big loss to the Cowboys in Week 9, but I'm still going to buy just because of how tough that division is. The Redskins, they still got a few tough games going forward, but if they take it one game at a time, then and they will make the playoffs either by winning the division or a wild card spot.
Well, and we're talking about the Cowboys-Redskins game. It showed a lot of heart for me to him to have 5 turnovers compared to only 1 turnover for the Cowboys, and for him not to completely fold table and give up. He only lost by 10 points. I know Maniac probably did let off the gas a little bit. Just looking at the stats, Maniac really did not just go for the complete cutthroat kill. I have a lot of optimism for him. I think he's a solid player. I think he's one of the best user linebacker guys we have here. I played him last season, and he gave me one hell of a game. I do think that it is the Cowboys' division to lose. I think the Cowboys win this division. I think he gets one of your wild card spots. I think he will be a team that like a 3 seed or 4 seed will not want to seed in the playoffs because, honestly, you're going to be the underdog when you have home field advantage. This guy is just play, and he's got those 2 stars we talked about earlier this year. He's got Sparks, and what's the receiver's name? Brooks. I think that with that combo, I think he can beat anybody on any given day. And then you got to look, he's got Joe Mixon running the ball. He's going to be a scary one. I'm going to have to buy on him. I don't think I can buy him enough to beat the Cowboys in the regular season as in for the division title, but he's a team that you do not want to see in the playoffs.
The Rams is sitting at 6-3. Sans Ducks, they have not completely disappeared. Are we buying or selling the St. Louis Rams? The LA Rams.
Well, the LA Rams with Shock's fan, again, he over in the OMFL 2, he made the previous year's Super Bowl. Great player. I think in our last podcast, I think I didn't give the Rams enough justice and stuff. So I'm buying with the last few games I've seen him play with the Rams and stuff. But again, with an option of caution because he is in a tough division, and he's gonna have to sneak in as a wild card, and it's going to be tough with the NFC East, especially with Mo over there with the Seahawks, and then you also got can't forget about Meathead over with the 49ers. So I'm buying with caution, but I think he has a chance to make it in. if things fall for him.
Yeah, I might regret this, but I'm probably going to sell. I think he's right now after the game in Week 10, he's 2-2 maybe starting out. But he still has a tough schedule. He's still got to play the Ravens, Smash, and the Cards again. And then you got to play Mo. It's pretty clear that that's his division now. So the only way he's going to be able to sneak in is to get a wild card, and he's going to steal that from one of the teams out of the East. And that's going to be pretty tough. So right now I want to sell.
Well, I will tell you this. I think a lot of people, didn't give him the Rams enough credit last podcast. Not directly throwing it at the only three people that are here with me. But he is a solid player, and I played against him, and he fought back. I think he was down. I think I told Dawson 20 points or 21 points going into the fourth, cut it down to a single possession game, and it really took Tevin Coleman making a hell of a broken tackle to seal that game. I think that he's too far behind this year to catch Mo. I think if we're talking about next year, I think he gives Mo a run for his money. I think he's too far behind right now, and that's crazy saying that. He's only 2 games back, but I think that just speaks volumes of what I think about the Seahawks. I think he'll be fighting for a spot. It's really hard to get a wild card spot over these Redskins and Giants. I'm sorry, Maniac. I'm just throwing my chips on you. You're going to win the division. The Redskins and Giants and the Rams are going to be fighting for those final 2 spots. I think he could sneak in. It's really hard. The only thing that helps him is the Redskins and Giants are going to beat up each other. Or actually, like I said, the NFC East in general is going to beat up each other. And I'm going to buy him as a contender. He might not make the playoffs this season. I know as funny as that sounds, I'm buying him as a contender, but he's not making the playoffs. But I think he is going to be someone to reckon with the rest of this Madden, and I'm going to buy him as a future team here in the OMFL.
Yeah, I think the Sox fan was less to do with him as a player and just more to do about the team not being, built to fit anyone but Ducks. But he's not done too bad of a job with that team that was very custom built for one player. Let's move over to the Minnesota Vikings. They're sitting at 4-5. Our old buddy Bill is over there. Now you're wondering, why is a 4-5 team on this list? Well, it's because he's leading his division right now. Are we buying or selling the Minnesota Vikings?
I'm buying. Bill, this is your division, man. If you're listening, this is your division. I've played the Packers. Priest has got some issues over there in Cheeseland, and the NFC North is for the Vikings plunder. So, Bill, this is yours. Don't let me down. But I'm wholeheartedly. This is one of the few that I'm wholeheartedly buying in for the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm going to buy also, simply because he's in that North Division, which is probably one of the weakest division in the league right now. But Bill, he has made some moves recently for the future seasons. I think he traded for Duncan Hoffman from the Giants recently. Right now he's undefeated in the division, so right now I'm going to buy.
Well, I think you'd be hard pressed not to buy Bill at this time. Everybody knows I'm a big Bill fan. I'm Bill's right hand man in the mob, and I just think, man, I think Bill's in a position to where he can roll this division for a while. And this is not knocking the Cheeseheads or Outlaw or DBL, because I think when DBL is engaged, or Double Zero, when he's engaged, I think he's one of the best players here. But with life right now, he's away, and I think that gives Bill and the Vikings just another step up above in that division. Priest, we all know how good Priest can be when Priest has everything in place. Right now, he still ain't got it figured out. And Outlaw, who's won 2 games in a row. I mean, hey, something could be brewing in Chicago. But I do think it's Bill's division to lose. I'm going to buy on him. He's going to make the playoffs. And if anybody sleeps on Bill, you're being for a mistake, because I played with him over here when he was in the South, and when he originally was here with the Giants, if I'm not mistaken. We had a lot of respect for him, and I have a lot of respect for him playing with the Vikings, and I think you have to buy him, and I think he'll jump in as a 4 seed, and like I said, that 5 or 6 seed, or the 5 seed might not want to see Bill in the playoffs.
I think you can buy those Minnesota Vikings on the discount rack, though, because they are sitting at below 500 at 4-5. Let's look at the New York Giants, the 6-2 New York Giants. Are we buying or selling Pepper and his Giants?
Pepper and those defensive-minded Giants, they have they have been a thorn in my side every game we play. I know he says that he can't win against me and stuff, but that defensive front is just monstrous. If he gets into the playoffs, if he can get his mindset straight, which I think the last couple of games and stuff, he seems like he's trying to focus in on not being negative. I buy, but buy with caution because this is a tough division in the NFC East, and we've got these guys pushing all around from the other leagues and divisions and stuff to trying to get that wild card spot. I think if he gets in, it's a wild card. If he misses the playoffs again, it's going to be a 10-win, maybe even a 11-win season that he misses out. I think if he gets 11, he's in. 10, it's cautionary. So buy with caution.
Yeah, I think they're sitting pretty good right now. They're 6-2, so I mean, the defense is probably one of the best in the league right now. I think last season they won 11 games and missed out on the playoffs. So I'm going to buy simply because it's going to be tough. With Redskins, Cowboys, and even the Eagles. Eagles are setting 5-3, but in the end, I want to buy the Giants. I'm making at least a wild card spot.
Sale. Let's just throw that out there. Actually, I'm just giving you some poster board material so you'll beat Maniac for me.
No,
I do think that he's going to have to beat the Redskins and Cowboys. He's 0-2 versus them this season. He plays each one of them one more time. He's going to have to beat them. And Dakota made a good point. Don't sleep on the Eagles. Everybody knows how dominant they were last year. He's got them twice. He's going to have to prove he can beat. He's going to have to win. He's got 4 games left. He needs to win 3 out of 4 games in NFC East to be a playoff team. And that's crazy to say that you have to beat your division that well to be a playoff team, especially, like I said, you got everybody's within, 2 games, 4 teams within 2 games in that division. And I'm not selling on the account of I think he's a bad player. The Giants are one of the one teams I hate to play because it's just such an ugly game. This defense makes you play ugly, and the only way you're going to win is play ugly. And like Maniac said, he has such a front 7 that's just so dominant that and everybody knows I love to run the ball, and it's no fun when I can't run the ball. It's just not fun. I know I might sound like Nate right there. It's just not fun, guys, when I can't run the ball. But with his front 7, I think he can turn any game into an ugly game. But I'm going to have to sail just for the fact that he's got to beat the Cowboys and beat the Redskins and beat the Eagles to win out. And no offense, Pepper, I just don't see it happening, winning 3 out of 4 against those teams.
A little dig at the commish there. All right, keeping me on my toes. A little buy and sell action. There you have it. Now let's move over to some power rankings. Right now, Daddy Leagues, the top 10 has the Los Angeles Rams at 10, the Steelers at 9, the Raiders at 8, the Giants at 7, the Redskins at 6, the Cowboys at 5. Pretty good division right there. Seattle Seahawks at 4, the Dolphins at 3, the Bengals at 2, and your Atlanta Falcons, number 1 right there at the very top at 8-1. I asked you guys to go ahead and put together your own top 10 list of your power rankings here in the OMFL. Now, there's 3 of you, and we're already probably, I think, 50 minutes deep here. So we got about 10 minutes to wrap things up and still have the mailbox to go through. So quickly, let's give us your top 10 list of your power rankings here in the OMFL. And we're going to start with you, D. Wayne.
Okay. We're going to go with, I got the Chiefs at 10. I got the Raiders at number 9. I got the Giants at 8. The Redskins at 7. The Steelers at 6. The Cowboys at 5. The Dolphins at 4. The Seahawks at 3. The Falcons at 2. And the Bengals at 1. I don't know if you want us to explain that or just.
No, I like it. I didn't expect that you were going to put yourself number 1, so I'm glad that Daddy Leagues did it. Dawson, give me your top 10 power rankings.
Yeah, I got at 10 I got Titans, 9 I got the Raiders, 8 I got the Eagles, which 8 through 5 could be switch. 7 I got the Redskins, 6 I got the Giants, 5 I got the Cowboys, 4 I got the Dolphins, 3 I got the Bengals, and 2 I got the Seahawks, and number 1 I got the Atlanta Falcons.
Maniac, bring us home. Give us your top 10 list.
Well, you're going. Yeah, I know you're going to give me heck over this, but number 10, I have tied Redskins and Cowboys.
Jesus, make a decision, man.
Number 9, the Giants. Number 8, Raiders. Number 7, Chiefs. Number 6, Eagles. He is the defending champ in the division. Number 5, Steelers. Number 4, Dolphins. Number 3, Bengals. Number 2, Seahawks. And number 1, Dwayne and his Falcons.
A lot more Miami Dolphins and Oakland Raiders love than I expected to be on this list. Will tell you, though, the Seahawks are freaking unbelievable. That defensive line is one of the sickest defensive lines that I've ever faced in my entire life, and he doesn't even use them, and that's the sad part. They are extremely powerful, and they're going to be able to make some top 10 plays. So let's move over to the mailboxes. We kind of put a bow on today's show. We had a lot of really good questions come in. And our first one comes from our old buddy in Cheeseland, Mr. Priest. He says this, I thought this was a good question. Playbooks, which are good, which are bad? Any insight on which ones to build from that are the best? I think this is a really interesting question. And I'm glad that I was able to get this to you guys early so that you could think about this one. Let me just give this little disclaimer before we roll over to this one. And we'll start with you, Dawson. But my disclaimer is that there is a very good chance that we will ban all 9 team or 9 custom playbooks. And that's the playbooks like Pistol, West Coast. Help me out. What are some of the other ones?
Run heavy.
Yeah, run heavy, pass heavy, like all those types of weird playbooks. Because you actually, when you go to build a custom playbook, you can't use those playbooks as a base to build from. And we're kind of noticing that as a whole, the league is starting, if you don't have a custom playbook, to lean towards using a lot of the West Coast, which are a lot of quick hit passes and a lot of tosses and stretch runs. So I think unless I'm talked out of it by the board, that ban will come. So that's my little disclaimer that if you use one of those playbooks, go ahead and enjoy it for this season, because I think I'm going to get you to move over to a team-based playbook, or you need to build a custom-built playbook. So, Dawson, what do you think about playbooks? What do you use? What are your favorites? What are the ones that maybe you've used that you do not like?
Yeah, I use a custom playbook, started last Madden, and I just kind of, pick out the plays. Usually what I do is I pick the team playbook, and then I take out all the plays that I don't like or that are, just too cheesy, that will never run, take those out, and then add in the plays that I feel like that I could, actually, go through. This Madden, I went with I kind of switched around with the Chargers and the Titans playbook. I started out with those as a base formation, and then again added the plays I feel like that I can play. Right now, I'm using the Titans. And I took out and add in a few of the pistol formations, a few of the single back. I feel like they were good. I guess my record is showing that is not good, but what's bad, I just really don't like the Patriots. I think they had like a lot of shotgun formations, and I'm not real big on running a lot of shotgun. And I think I want to say maybe the Ravens also. I didn't really like their playbook as well. Oh, the Jags, for them to be more a running team. While I felt like they were in real life, their plays to me it wasn't running focused running plays. It was more pistol and a lot of shotgun plays.
Dwayne, what are your favorite playbook, and what are the ones maybe you don't like?
Well, me and Dawson stayed up for about an hour and a half, 2 hours a day, and he helped me build a custom playbook. My first custom playbook I've ever used. Now we'll keep that one on the wraps. I got some stuff on the works there. But there are some good playbooks out there. If you just want to go with a team playbook, for last Madden, for the first 2 seasons, I played with the Cowboys. I was so biased. I was not going to change the Cowboys playbook. And Cowboys playbook is a good one to build on. But to me, out of the box, it's just so basic, almost like real life. Real basic playbook. But the Pats, Dakota talked about he didn't like the Pats. The Pats are real good. If you want some different formations, the Pats are a good one to build with. But I found this Madden, I really like the 49ers and Tampa Bay Bucks. If you want to run the ball and play that I formation, 2 receivers, tight end, a fullback, and running back. Those are great playbooks for you if you want to build off them. And one playbook that really stuck out to me for a lot of passing gurus, and I think it's a very underrated playbook because it does give you a few running options. But man, the shotgun formation's in it, and I know we're not, you shouldn't cheese shotguns. They're still out there. But if you want some variation in your shotgun formations, the Indianapolis Colts playbook, man, is a great one to look at because there's a lot of different, I say different routes, but different route combinations in there that I had never seen in some of my other playbooks. And I just think if you want to run the ball, 49ers, Tampa Bay, Atlanta's a good one. It's a lot more finesse running, and I cannot stand finesse running. I like to just run up the middle. And as much as crazy that sounds, I would rather have the 49ers, Tampa Bay playbooks. Or if you want to lean towards the pass, and the Colts are a good playbook for you to start out with.
Maniac, what do you think about playbooks?
Well, I mean, the way I approach it is you got to know first how you're going to be in your philosophy. If you run first, play off the pass, or run off the pass, or pass off the run, do you want to sling it around, that type of deal and stuff. Me personally, though, I like to be balanced and not to be biased and stuff, but I've used the Cowboys as my base playbook and stuff. I use a custom. I've actually got 2 custom playbooks that I've got set up and stuff. But I like the Cowboys from a base, and then I pull from some of the other teams that really kind of fit my philosophy and stuff. I have pulled some plays from like a 49ers base playbook and stuff, and then also from the Indianapolis Colts and stuff. And on my spread formations, shotgun formations stuff, I have pulled from New England. I don't go a lot with shotgun, but when I do have plays that I feel confident in that there's going to be a receiver open. Hopefully, it just depends upon what the other person is calling. To me, there's really no bad playbook. It's just that you got to figure out exactly what your philosophy is and how you're going to approach your game plan and stuff to make it fit to you.
Yeah, I think I'll always push guys to go to custom. It is a lot of work, but once you do it one time, it's done. And the reason I do that is you can have up to 500 plays in both offense and defense, and it just gives you such a wide variety of plays to pick from, which helps you avoid calling the same plays over and over and over. I was a Titans guy for many, many years. I've always been a custom playbook guy, and I always used here's a name for you. When Norm Chow was the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans, I just always loved their pistol and just kind of that run pass option that you would always have. I've always been a big fan of the Saints, of course. They always have a very unique shotgun, single back, I formation playbook. And then this past Madden, my base playbook has been Minnesota. And so I've always built off of Minnesota's playbook. And that was because Dwayne and I actually run very similar styles in both offense and defense. He just does it 20,000 times better than I, but I'm a run first, set up the pass second option. I'm also a guy that loves the quarterback read options and having a quarterback that can make you pay. And I've avoided those plays because I haven't had a quarterback to run that offense. Brett Huntley was a complete disaster last year. And now I have that kind of quarterback. I've kind of started to bring some of those plays back into my playbook. But I always push guys, take the time, build a custom playbook, or ask somebody in the league, man. I'm sure there are guys here that love doing that kind of stuff, and ask them if they'll build you one and throw them $5 on PayPal. Outlaw also had another great question for us. He wants to talk about we were talking about priests and the playbooks. That's right. Outlaw sent 2 questions, though. He said, how many seasons are we looking at, and when should we start looking at import rookies? I think we're probably looking at another 2 seasons at least, maybe another 3. You never know. These guys have been playing these games like crazy. I would assume at least another 2, but kind of plan for 3 more. But what do you guys think about when you should start looking at your import rookie And we'll go with you, Dawson. When do you think you'll start looking at the guy that you're going to bring over with you into Madden, the next Madden?
Yeah, see, last Madden, my import rookie was in the last draft that we had. I looked at the last minute. Dakota, he did put a interesting, topic out there, idea out there, to grab somebody early that that you really don't need now and build them up, hide them in your roster, and just, get them young and keep them, I guess XP and either get them ready for the import or either wait for the last minute like I did. Which I probably this cycle I'll probably wait most likely till last draft.
Maniac, what do you think about import rookies? When are you going to start looking for yours?
Well, I mean, last year or last Madden, I brought over my left guard that I drafted when I was with the Eagles in the first round. It really all depends on, how you like to do things. I like to get a young guy and build him up because I feel accomplished, when I've snuck in this 21-year-old guy onto the practice squad for a season, maybe 2 seasons, then bring him up to the roster and finish, kind of filling out his repertoire and and then taking him over into, bringing him over with me and making him a stud. That's kind of my mindset this Madden. So I may have one on my roster now that I may take over. If not, I'm definitely looking probably at this next draft, getting that 21-year-old, 22-year-old that has beast potential and building him up and then bringing him over to the next Madden.
D-Wayne, when are you going to start looking for your guy to bring with you into Madden 19?
Well, everybody knows I had a less than exciting choice I brought over with me this Madden. Even Nate questioned me when I sent it to him if I was sending the right guy or not. There's a method to the madness. Everybody knows I love my hard hitting safeties. I drafted him last draft. I think he might have been Mr. Irrelevant pick. I'm not 100% sure. But like I said, this is an example of you pick somebody low. I didn't pick a real fancy guy. Like I said, he was a 7th-round pick. He was 60-ish overall. He's 82 overall now. He's 92. He's a starter, my thing. And it took him 3 seasons this Madden to become a starter. I still groomed him. But I do think you have to, if you haven't been looking yet, like Maniac said, if you're not getting a 21, 22-year-old by now, you need to start looking this draft. You need to find somebody. If you want a quarterback next man, like I said, it's probably going to vary from team to team. Because like somebody like the Jets, because if you look at real life rosters, the Jets, the Bills, trying to think of some teams that are going to have to, maybe even the Chargers, if Rivers decides to retire in real life, you have to start looking now if you want to draft a quarterback to bring over, or if you're a cash-strapped team, do you want to bring me? I brought a free safety over. When I signed him, he was a 4-year, $6 million contract to start this Madden after 1 year. So I got a starter for a dirt cheap price. You can look at it different ways, but you got to start looking this season. You got to start looking this season and just try to find that guy that you think will fit your team as you go forward. Or you could go the route like, Massimo did with Traynor, but you pay so much money for a quarterback like that, but you do have one of the top quarterbacks in the league. So I just think you got to start looking this draft, but you really got to look at your team and realistic long term, you got to look at what your team in real life is going to have and what needs you might need to fill. And talking about the seasons, I see us easy, like he said, 5 seasons and maybe a 6th one, especially the way everybody's playing, how fast everybody's playing these games. I don't know. I think that last season, if I'm not mistaken, you can correct me, Nate, that 6th season was good, but it was hit and miss all season. You had some guys, especially when they started losing, they started checking out, and it was a rough ride that 6th season, but it was fun. It was fun for a lot of us, but some guys really did check out that last season. So I guess that'd just be something to look at going forward.
Yeah, I think we'll always have that last season, whether it's season 5 is the last or 6. My issue is if you take a month off, people disappear and you lose a lot of momentum, and it really just hurts the community as a whole. And so I always like to play all the way. And if guys need a break, then let's have that conversation. Try to get your games in and just kind of take your breaks out of that. And if guys check out, they check out. It sucks, but for the guys who do want to stay plugged in, it gives them something to do, and it helps us keep momentum as we roll into the next Madden. I'd also say I think that this season is maybe one draft too early. Definitely the next season and the season after that. And I love the idea of finding that position that's hard to find in the next Madden. So quarterback, skilled position, but I'm also a big fan of offensive line. I think that Madden generated offensive linemen are always better than in-game offensive linemen. They're cheaper, they play better, and if you can get a hog that you can take with you, especially if the center awareness situation continues on, where the center affects the rest of the offensive linemen. I think that could be a really big impact player that you can take over with you, and you can have him on the cheap. So then Outlaw had another question I want to present to you guys as we kind of put a bow on this thing is, does the AFC South possibly have a contender in the division? So we were talking about some buys or some sells. We haven't really got to the contender pretenders we get later in the season. But Dawson, let's go with you. What do you think about the AFC South?
Yeah, it seems like they're all mixed together, right in the middle. A game or two separates the first and the last spot. Right now, data leagues have Texans in the league in the first place. I just see the Titans come out with that. I played the Titans and the Jaguars. Or I played Jags and Colts. I haven't played Texans yet this season, but just between the Titans and Jaguars, I feel like Titans, they just beat me up. I lost by 2 points to them. Jags, I lost by 3 points, but I also had like 3 picks and had a backup Chad Kelly. It's going to be interesting to see. I did play Titans in the playoffs last season. I beat them. I think whoever wins that division, don't look past them because they can still compete and they could grab that playoff win or upset anybody who they play in the playoffs.
D-Ram, what do you think about the AFC South?
I think you got 3 teams there. I can't really judge the Colts yet because, like I said, the Colts lost a tough one last night to the Browns. I think that he's going to have to shape that team in his own direction because the Colts in general are a team that has to be shaped to fit you because I don't think they're a real great team out of the box. I think the Texans, Titans, Jaguars, whoever wins that division, is a formidable opponent for anybody. I think if you had never played Brady before, you're in for a rude awakening. Brady will hit you in the mouth and just keep on going. He's one of the most unique players I've ever played with on here. Titans, and he just slugfest football. I mean, he's gonna run at you. Me and him were what I call his preseason rivals last Madden. We played each other every preseason, and it was that 4th week when you actually play your opponent. And man, we played and played and played, and I think we both went about 50-50. He beat me, I beat him. He just plays juggernaut football. He's just gonna hit you in the mouth. He's gonna pass off his run. He's just a tough player all around, and somebody that plays him and Jacksonville play that kind of same style. It's really hard to run away with somebody that plays like that because they're not going to let you have the ball a whole lot. And they're going to play good defense, and either one of them teams can make an impact. It wasn't too long ago that Brady was 15-1 and the leader in the AFC. And then you got Houston. And like I said, I bought him earlier. I think that he is a good team. But like I said, he's such a wild card because you don't know what you're going to get. I mean, I said earlier, you had games he lost when his quarterback play was just god awful. He's not going to win. And I know that's easy to say, but some teams, I can speak for Maniac, I can speak for Cincy. Some of those guys like that, or even Ducks. When Ducks was here, he could win with his quarterback having an off game. He could still win the game, and I don't think that's the case with Massimo. And that's nothing against Massimo. I just think he bases his whole offense around Traynor to the point where it's either win or die with him, and that kind of scares me a little bit. Just because he can beat anybody on any given day when he's on, but he can lose games that he's supposed to win when he's off. So I think you got 3 contenders there that whoever comes out of the division is somebody you don't want to face in the playoffs.
Maniac, to answer Outlaw's question, what do you think about the AFC South?
Well, it's like the North. Nobody really wants to take the lead in that division, step up. Like Dwayne said, you can't sleep on Brady. But just to throw out some numbers here, on the red zone efficiency for all the teams there in the South. Brady, he's 100% when he gets in the red zone. He scores. It's either he's about 50% right now on touchdown field goal ratio. But on the other side of that, on defense, he can't stop anybody. He's had 24 opponents come into the red zone, and 24 times they scored. 16 touchdowns, 8 field goals. So that's 100%. So if you get in the red zone against Brady, you're scoring. Texans, he's a little better. He's actually 89% when scoring red zone efficiency as compared to 79% on stopping it. Titans, 80% scoring, 77% stopping. Colts is 70% scoring, 88% on stopping it. So, those guys, they're giving up a lot of points, but they're also pretty decent in the red zone as well. The other thing is that I think is probably going to set this apart is the sacks on the defensive side. The Texans have 35 sacks as a team, and they do have an excess of 20-plus turnovers. The Jaguars on the opposite end of that have only generated 9 turnovers so far on the season. So to me, I think coupled with every time you get into the red zone and you're actually able to score on the Jaguars, I think that it's going to eliminate them. So I do have to give the head to the Texans there coming out of that division. But, yeah, it's one of those things where nobody wants to win it.
Yeah, I'm always a Tennessee Titans fan. I'm always waiting for Jason to step up and take the lead. I think he has the better team. Massimo's just turning the ball over and giving up way too many sacks for men to think that he can pull this out. I think Brady and the Jaguars are just not engaged at all. And the Colts are still a wait and see. I think he's still building that roster to kind of fit his style and fit what he wants to do. So, man, it has been a great show. We have talked about a ton of stuff. We've gone now over an hour. We're an hour and 10 minutes deep. If you put in the other hour that we had technical difficulties, we've been going at this for 2 hours now. So let's get to our last little segment as we put a bow on everything here. Maniac, give us your final thoughts on today's show.
I think we had a good show today. A lot of still undecisions on who's going to win the South. Good quality talk about the playbooks. NFC East. I'm putting out poster board material here. I'm winning it. So there you go.
Oh.
There you go. Now let's see what's going to happen. Dawson, put a bow on it. Give us your final thoughts, my man.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. We talked about a lot. Like Maniac was saying, there's a lot of games, still set for the next couple of weeks that will decide, the playoffs seeding and everything. As far as week 10, we got 7 more games, 7 games left to play. So just get those games scheduled and get ready to move on to week 11.
T-Wayne, final thoughts, my man. Like I said, we've had a good season so far. A lot of excitement, a lot of new guys, some new guys here that are making an impact, and some new old faces that have came back. And I like the mix we got here. I hope that the NFC heard that from Maniac, the poster board material. Hope y'all run with that. I think it's been a good season. I think you got a lot of good storylines as we go throughout the season. I think we can start looking at guys have their players going for the MVP races, the Rookie of the Year races. And like I said, the playoffs, man, the playoff fixtures are starting to shape up, and I just think it's that time of the year where everybody should be really excited.
Yep, it's either really decided or really depressed about how your season has come out, depending on which side of that coin that you're on. But I think it's been a great season so far, and it's been a really good show. We've talked about a lot of stuff, so I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Make sure that you give us a subscribe on both Twitter, on Twitch, on YouTube. Making sure that you share our shows with people that follow you so you just kind of get us out there. If you're looking for something to do, check out the blog. Our blog posts have been down. I know it's been the holidays and people have had busy weeks as they get back into the routine of going to work and things. Heck, I haven't even played my golf games yet. I got to knock that tournament out here in the next 24 hours because life has just been busy with getting back to work and getting back to the routine. But make sure you check out our other leagues. We just dropped our latest GFW Chaos show. So there's lots of good stuff that's in there. So go check out that latest show. Give it a watch. All kinds of fun stuff that's out there. Cool blogs, lots of stuff all over Twitter. Watch our wrestling show. Give us likes and subscribes and share our stuff. We are already up to 130 subs on YouTube, which is pretty good for us. I know it's nothing spectacular, but you know what? It's growing every single week. And we're over 380, 390 followers on Twitter. So keep helping us grow, help us get our name out there, and give us some content. We want to see your content. We want to see what you can help us create. So make sure you participate in that incentive program that we have and get your stuff put out there. So for Dwayne, for Dawson, for Maniac, for all the leadership here in the OMFL, thanks for watching our show. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
See y'all later.
Later, guys.